All right, hey folks, good evening. We're going to make this short and sweet tonight. I don't have a whole lot of time to spend with everybody this evening, unfortunately. It's been a very long day, and I have a lot of things still going on that I need to tend to. We're going to cover some of the information here in the South and what's expected to unfold in the Southeast, particularly the Gulf Coast states. I was drawn earlier here a little bit ago. Let me clear that out of the way. But good evening. Welcome to Weather Center Live. This is like kind of a post-tropics topic / a tropics topic to an extent. We're going to do a very brief recap of what the hurricane season looked like and a bit of an evaluation on what the models, how they did throughout the hurricane season as well, some more poor than others. And we'll get started here in a moment. We'll let a couple more people join, see if we can get at least 15, 20 people to join us tonight, and then we'll kick things off with a couple of announcements, and we'll go from there. So let's see, let's get some folks in here. Starting off on the water vapor. Water vapor is still showing us where the main area is likely to continue to propagate across the south. We have our shortwave, really good dry air advection going on over Baja California and parts of Mexico too, which is going to help to only intensify the situation that happens over eastern Texas and the rest of the Gulf Coast states for that matter. So that's not good. We're actually going to take a look at a skew T or two tonight, which is going to be very informative. We've never really looked at those on this channel before, so we'll try to digest a little bit of what that information looks like as well. And then we'll briefly recap the hurricane season and call it a night. Let's see, Carmen is going to miss the live stream. Oh, shoot, I don't even have my water with me right now. It's been that busy. I don't have water with me, unfortunately, so she's probably going to be upset. Miss Leah, good evening. Welcome in. Ana, hola, buenas noches. Good to see you. I hope you're still here for the live stream. JJ614, thank you for tuning in from Maryland. Good to see you. Zenful, good to see you in here. Thank you very much for joining. It might be a quiet live stream tonight. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of people joining, unfortunately. I don't know if it's because I didn't post a video today or what, but we'll get started here in a moment. We'll give it another couple minutes for some folks to join in, and hopefully the chat will get a little more popping before we break down what's going on. Either that or we can just start up in the next 60 seconds. PM, welcome in. Good to see you. But yeah, you guys can't see it, but I have everything I need to start going over to my green screen setup. And I think I'm going to take this hiatus or this drowning effect that YouTube's putting on this channel as an opportunity to just take my time putting all of that together. That's why I didn't put out a video today, if I can be honest, especially since we don't really have anyone in here just yet. I'm noticing that, unfortunately, my channel is not growing anymore. It's shrinking. It's shrinking at this point. Every time I put out a new video, I gain a couple subscribers and I lose another half dozen, if not a dozen, unfortunately. But it is what it is. This gives me an opportunity to explore other options and come up with other topics that maybe will kind of do us some justice. Let me adjust the camera. Judy, welcome in. I haven't seen you in a little bit. Thank you for joining the stream tonight. John, welcome in here in Houston, looking to see what's going to happen in my area. Absolutely. That's exactly what we're going to talk about, sir. We've got some WPC websites that we're going to look at, SPC ensembles that they have provided for us or that they always have on their websites. We just don't really look at them too often. But here's where we're at. Oh, no, this isn't what I wanted. Let's see. This is access. Oh, here we go. Yes, this is what I wanted. I just wish there was a loop. Here's our 24-hour or our 48-hour QPF, and you can see just how much heavy rain we're going to get across the Gulf Coast and parts of the Midwest, the Central Plains area. And then day 3 just looks even worse than that. The Panhandle is going to get a tremendous amount of rainfall, anywhere between 3 to 6 inches. 120 hours out, that's going to continue to span across the South and into the Mid-Atlantic region. What was anticipated to be a very powerful cyclone is actually now likely to ride the subtropical jet out into the Western Atlantic and kind of dodge becoming a major nor'easter system. This is December 4th, and initial model data suggested that we were actually going to see something bomb out somewhere over top of Maine, near to, what is that, Massachusetts. I forget the states. I'm suddenly drawing a blank. I'm so tired right now. New York State. I think that's Baltimore up there next to Maine. Maryland down just to the south there, Manhattan Island. That's where our very, very strong nor'easter was expected to take shape, but unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, the models have rapidly deviated from that. And here's our SPC outlook. Let me refresh this page. I don't know why we lost it. There we go. So you can see down in the south, we now have an enhanced risk for severe weather right about just where Houston is, or maybe just off to the northeast of the Houston location. The tornado probability has continued to go up. This is why I need water. We have about 2.4 million people in the neck of the woods of who could possibly see some pretty good tornadic action. We have the Woodlands, Texas Conroe, Texas Spring, Huntsville, Atascocita, I'm not saying that properly at all. Houston is under the gun for a 5% tornado risk, that's for sure. So we'll definitely have to keep watching closely as this unfolds over the next 24 hours. If I go back to water vapor, you can see that the situation is setting up. This is going to be our main shortwave entity, and a lot of that dry air that's also building in that's going to create almost like a pseudo dry line setup across much of Texas, moving eastward through Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas, and Louisiana. That's where our definitive area of most significant weather activity is going to form up. Really, really aggressive wind shear down there, too, brought on by our subtropical jet thanks to El Nino, and a little bit of enhancement from that upper level low that is expected to start to undergo cyclogenesis at the surface somewhere over the Texas or Oklahoma panhandle. So we will see exactly what's going to happen over the next couple of days. We're going to move into our SPC guidance. This is the SHREF, and you can see right here what we are looking at is going to be our maximum amounts of wind shear and the overall unstable cape that we have in all the levels of the environment. And you can see that, the cape isn't too extraordinary. It only kind of gets up into the central eastern parts of Texas before it starts to sort of bottom out as the rest of that system propagates over the southeast and the Gulf Coast states. And that's exactly why right about here is where SPC is thinking our most significant severe weather activity, to include the tornadic potential, could occur. If you look in there, we have 60, 70 knot, well, I should say 65, 60 to 65. No, there's a couple 70 knot wind barbs in there right about here. A couple 70 knot wind barbs of overall surface to 500 wind shear. And it's like clockwork moving like this. Like so. Zenful, I'm glad you're not leaving. Had first frost in Florida this morning, was 37, 38 degrees. Heck yeah, no, definitely. Florida was cold. It was definitely close. The north side of Houston is under the gun for 10%, though, however, the center and south of Houston are in the 5%. That's good to know. I have family out there in Houston who hopefully are watching. They may or may not be. DPK Fish Aquariums, welcome in. Glad to see you. Jonathan, welcome in. Glad to see you as well. How close are we? Welcome in. I know I just read a message a little bit ago. Euro model shows no severe weather. Odd. Not sure why SPC is overblowing this. Maybe it's right. Models are inconsistent. Whoa. There's definitely going to be severe weather down there. I don't think that the Euro is not showing anything. Let's just jump right into that then. Let's take a look at what the European model is calling for, because I'm pretty sure that the Euro is calling for severe weather. That's for certain. I'm 100% on board with this being a severe weather threat. Maybe not as significant as the last one that we went through with the 20-plus tornadoes that were observed, but definitely a severe weather potential. See, you know what? I got to get off this website. Let's go back to weather models. Let us go back to weather models, go to the Euro, we'll go to the United States, and then we'll go to the Texas and South Central area, and we'll just go down to mean sea level pressure and precip and take a look at what 12 Zulu had in store for us. So there's lots of good ignition that we're expecting across with this system. Even some good snowfall still happening over the higher terrain features of Arizona, New Mexico, which I know has been very exciting for them. Small little pocket of freezing rain out there, too, in between the line of temperature discontinuity as that warm air kind of surges up. We probably, if I switch over to our temp, now let's go to the dew point. Dew point's going to show us a little bit more of an indication of what's going on down there. Here we go. 10-meter dew point. So right there, that's going to be where our severe weather takes place. A very, very strong, almost dry line-esque setup for much of central and eastern Texas, moving into Louisiana. And you look, we have dew points approaching the 70-degree Fahrenheit mark. You're just not going to see it because we only have a couple of observation points that'll spit out the model data. But you have a 68 right here, so one can infer that right along the coastline, we're going to have very, very maritime tropical dew points. And on the back side of this, we are dropping tremendously. We have 18 degrees, 22 degrees, even 32 right behind this, whatever you want to call it, a frontal system that's moving through. And that's exactly where we're going to see a lot of ignition with these cells. Let's see, what else can we look at? Vertical velocity. It goes without saying we have a lot of good vertical velocity moving through there because of the upper level influence with our shortwave trough that I showed you guys on water vapor. So that's going to help to really intensify some of those isolated instances of more severe weather. And then we come over to the HRRR and we head to the southern plains, the deep south. And let's look at the simulated radar. Here we go. Simulated radar for... Oh, Zero-Z's coming in. We can look at some Zero-Z model. Yeah, so even Zero-Z has a lot more isolated stuff with some really good activity going on in the Gulf of Mexico. This could be as we're waking up tomorrow morning, which is going to be a nice way to start the day, a nice way to start Thursday. Hey, Pete, welcome in. Doing okay. Very tired. I'm going to save one of my special announcements or two for the back end of this live stream. We're 11 minutes in. I have a couple other things to do, so we're probably going to cut it short at about the 35, 40-minute mark, depending. It was really cold last night in Central Florida. It was pretty windy around 2 a.m. last night. Still pretty breezy here. Oh, yeah, definitely. We had a very strong front going through, very strong front, which is wonderful, honestly. It was very interesting to go for a run this morning. My throat was hurting because of how cold it was. True supporters stay through it all. I appreciate that, Zen, for sure. I agree. Models seem to lessen the chance of severe weather. Not sure why. I'm not discounting SPC because when we had October storm, models underplayed it. Oh, yeah, definitely. All the other YouTube channels I'm subscribed to are live right now at this time. I just switch back and forth quickly. Yeah, that's probably why we're definitely losing a lot of folks, unfortunately. And you know what? I've come to accept it at this point. And I think that's why, as unfortunate it is to say, we're probably going to be dropping the amount of update videos that we do. We might even go down to 1 or 2 per week, depending on what's happening out there. Because like I said, you know, for the amount of work I'm putting in on a lot of this content and on this coverage and the amount of time I spend going back and forth like a chicken with its head cut off between final exams right now, family matters, holiday matters, work matters, and everything else that's happening in the background, and then seeing people unsubscribe as they watch a new video of mine, that just kind of sucks, if I can be very bold. But, you know, it comes with the YouTube trade. This isn't my first go-around with social media. It is my first go-around with YouTube, but it is what it is. I'm definitely going to keep popping out content for you guys. I just don't know how many more update videos we're going to have in a short period of time. We might have to really spread them out. SPC said it's conditional because the 10% will only get going if all conditions are there at the right moment. However, they have stated that there is a lot of other limiting factors tomorrow. This mini system is not easy to forecast. It'll eventually weaken and bring light rain to Central Florida. Definitely not a strong El Nino yet. Good night to you, my friend. Hey, Aston, welcome in. Good to see you. Kevin McGinn, good to see you. I remember you mentioned that you were going to try to get in there. I appreciate you joining up. Nazarites. I like that. Nazarites. Stronger cold front could bring storm-like conditions in the middle of December for the Caribbean. Yeah, technically, it won't be anything too crazy. I noticed that people are still kind of clinging to the Caribbean AOR as if there's going to be big things going on, and you know, there might, but you guys have been sitting pretty down there. I haven't even really been looking at the Caribbean because there's nothing going on right there. At least I come back, Lolly. Don't have a lot of favorite weather YouTube, so it's hard to choose because I'm never unsubscribing. Oh, well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I'm very excited to announce that I'm going to have my green screen setup up, and I've been doing some homework behind the scenes to be able to do some of these live coverage videos. And as opposed to doing just a talking head, you know, looking all silly at my desk with this background, I actually know a way now to where I can manipulate OBS Studios into going live in front of my green screen and controlling it from my green screen to where I can actually do like an actual on-air weather broadcast, which I'm very excited about. I really want to work on getting that fine-tuned and figuring out how that's going to work best. But Sheesh, wow, looking out 48 hours, it looks like this is going to be a very extended event even. It looks like New Orleans, Baton Rouge, moving into central and southern parts of Mississippi with another resurgence expected by the HRRR in about another day or two, Friday afternoon. It looks like we're not out of the woods for some severe weather, and I'm surprised that SPC hasn't actually extended this out just yet. When it loads, maybe they have. Let's see if they've updated a new part of what day 3 looks like. Okay, so a marginal threat. That kind of makes sense. Let's see, what else do we have pulled up here? Oh, here's one of our skew tees for the Houston area, and I thought it was very impressive to see all this directional shear and just how strong of a low-level jet we have in place. You start out at about 15 knots out of the south, right at the ground level at about 1,000 millibars, very close to the surface, and then you very quickly transition to a more southwesterly and westerly component with winds already in excess of 55 knots at the 900 millibar level. So that's definitely going to help to get these storms rotating and really help get these mesocyclones going down in the low levels. And that's why I definitely am in full agreement that we're going to have some tornado reports out there as we go through tomorrow and then into the overnight hours of tomorrow. And then this is not good. If you look, we have a very, very saturated low level. We're following the wet lapse rate, the wet adiabatic lapse rate, and lots of good dry air intrusion in the mid to upper levels, which is only going to help to further intensify a lot of these storms. That's what you call dry air entrainment going on at about the 500 millibar. Well, starting at the 700 millibar level all the way up to the 300 millibar level. It's all that dry air that we identified on the water vapor satellite. I plan on making a preliminary tropical cyclone seasonal forecast next week. Early preview, likely to be busy. Oh, yeah, definitely. I agree. Anna, welcome in. Thank you very much for joining us from Puerto Rico. Good to have someone still tuning in from out there. We're going to keep an eye on you guys whenever things start to get busy down there. Late but here, Mick and Marley, welcome in. Hey to everyone that's just joined. I agree. Hello to everyone who's just tuning in. Taking a look at a skew T indice to see exactly what kind of dynamics we have in play down there in the Houston area. This is the NCEP-NAM Houston forecast skew T for, I think, 24 hours from now. Yeah, 24 hours. Let's see what else we have here. This is going to be our mean overall winds at 850 millibars. Very aggressive low-level jet. This is also exactly why right there, those really strong winds, yeah, right here where you can see those shades of yellow, that's another reason why we're definitely thinking that we're going to have some good severe thunderstorm activity that might blur together and become more just sections of lines. Or a line kind of style, like squall line kind of thunderstorms. If we can keep some of those isolated areas kind of just all by themselves to where they can wrap up and start to rotate on a very micro scale level, that's where we're going to have our funnel clouds and our possible isolated tornadoes. But a lot of this stuff is going to try to mix together along that frontal line. I wonder if WPC even has it highlighted as a frontal system. Let's see, they might. Let's go to the fronts, go to 12Z tomorrow. They have frontogenesis going on out there. They have two fronts, a 1-2 front deal out there. Not too sure I agree with that. That's definitely looking a little funky. At that rate, I would have probably carried fronts with our upper level low that was moving across the desert southwest this whole time. But, you know, maybe that's... I haven't done any official synoptic analysis in a little bit, so they could be onto something, trying to form something up on a breakaway finger of the jet because of that cold pocket that we saw moving into Western California. That could possibly be what they're indicating here is going to undergo frontogenesis, and then we have this lingering front from the main area of polar front jet energy, so that could possibly be it. Yes, if I like a channel, I never unsubscribe, even if I can't watch all the time. Oh, that's good to know. Naz, did you do that research on named snowstorms? Not as of yet, unfortunately. I need to make a note of that. I need to make a note on that and get that going here very soon. Just like I want to do what I call, and one of my old commanders had mentioned it to me, I should do a report card on how our models did for the hurricane season as part of our little after-action report. Sections of Africa is under severe flooding. Yeah, I've noticed that there's a couple of weather channels that are migrating out to Africa now as the tropical season has gone underwater for the Atlantic. I'll tell you the truth, there's no way in heck you're going to make me do that. Sorry, Sorry, I know that sounds very callous on my part, but I am so busy with everything else, and people are barely watching my United States videos. There's no way in heck I have any sort of time to spread myself across the globe right now. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. There's not a whole lot. Go ahead and keep asking, Will. Definitely continue asking. It's definitely a book or bust tomorrow. Sox has said low-level thermodynamics might slow things down, like 60 dew points, cloudiness, and morning convection, limiting heating, and low lapse rate. So, yeah, we'll see. I think all the ingredients are definitely there. I can definitely see clouds in the morning with the showers beginning to develop, primarily induced by our upper-level shortwave activity, maybe limiting how much surface-based CAPE could be taking shape out there. We'll see. It's still up in the air. I'm on board with a severe weather event. I briefed it a couple days ago. I think it was either yesterday or the day before yesterday. I said it might not be as expansive as the last one we saw, but we'll definitely have some severe weather out there. Worldwide Weather Channel, wow, busy. Yeah, when people are actually doing the weather gig, like they actually are full-time weather, they can do stuff like that. I am a full-time just about everything else besides weather right now. It's a goal, so I'm not going to be able to do that. I wish I had the time to do that. But yeah, maybe in a point in time in the future. Hopefully what I'm going to announce to you guys tonight will help to expedite that a little bit. A major to a massive snowstorm is likely in the Americas by mid-December. That is likely to drag a major front down into the Caribbean. Well, we haven't seen that just yet. None of our models are indicating it just yet. And El Nino is definitely going to keep things a lot more confined to the northeast. We're going to have our subtropical jet that's going to remain in place for much of the winter time. We're already seeing it in the late fall across the deep south. And then most of our most potent cold air is going to probably be up over the northeast, maybe into the mid-Atlantic and the Great Lakes. It's really going to be determined whether or not our upper air pattern can get meridional enough, and if our polar front and our Arctic jet can amplify enough to bring all that stuff down. Because we got to remember, with El Nino being in place, and you can see the jet right over here, this is all of our subtropical jet energy screaming across the south. This is going to help to try to prevent a lot of our major frontal systems that would typically dig down across the Rockies and scrape through the southern tier and bring that type of frontal passage to the south at bay and to the north. That's why we've seen a lot of our cold air kind of already hanging out. If we were to go to a temp anomaly, I'm sure we look... I don't want to hear speculation. Are you talking about what I'm saying right now? Because we're not speculating. This is exactly what's happening. Let's go to an upper air chart on tropical tidbits, because I can navigate to that a little bit faster. Let's see. Unless you're talking about the whole big front in December, then yes, that's big speculation. That's all speculation, since none of our models are highlighting it. You can kind of already see it. Even if I just stop right here, this is December 4th. This is what I'm talking about. You look right in through here and look at all of our red thickness lines, all the red thickness lines, and then here's the 570 line right in through here, indicative of where our subtropical jet is running, and then here's our 540 line. You can see it right across mid-Atlantic northeast, and then there's the Great Lakes. You can kind of make a case for the Midwest, the Dakotas, parts of the upper, the northern central, not the northern central plains, the northern plains. This is where I think a lot of our major bona fide, dense, cold air is going to remain up in this general area for much of winter time, that's for sure. According to CPC, this week and next week will be drier than normal for Florida. Strong El Nino is not happening yet. See, we're going to go back into that El Nino this and El Nino that. I think it's strong. We have a greater than, the 1.7 to 1.9 degree Charlie temperature anomaly in the East Pacific and the Central Pacific. Got our subtropical jet in place. We have our thickness lines in place. We have a continuous slew of moisture coming across the south. Our low rider systems that are continuing just to pummel through. You see it right in through here. But I don't know. I'm not going to get into that right now. Let's see what we got going in the Caribbean, since we've mentioned it. So there's our big slew of fronts. And then I have a frontal boundary draped across the Greater Antilles. Oh, yeah, it looks like there is maybe a very strong front that could come down. This is into La La Land of the GFS. And we might be able to see something push down, maybe not into the Caribbean, but it'll kind of try to hang out over the northern periphery of it and run up against the Greater Antilles. It's pretty interesting that you can see it butting up against the islands right there. That's how shallow of a cold layer it is right here. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. How does the 18th look for Louisiana? Because I'm having my daughter Ariana B-Day party that day. I don't think we're going to go out that far. We're barely going to miss it. That's going to be a little too far away to call right now, unfortunately. Is Florida going to have to worry about any storms? Not right now, honestly. We're just looking at rainfall, honestly. There's really nothing severe. A lot of our severe weather, the tornado season, the fall tornado season is in full effect. So that's where a lot of our severe weather action is going to be. We're just looking at maybe elevated rain chances as we go over the next few days. But Jonathan, we'll have to get back to you in about a week or so time to see exactly what the 18th might look like. We're just barely on the outside of that on our GFS, and going that far out, especially on a 6 or an 18Z model run, there's going to be a lot of adjustment that go on with that as well. So we'll want to get a little bit closer. I'd say end of first into the second week of December, we can finally get a better glance at that, and we'll get a better understanding. We are in a moderate El Nino, so there's no strong 3 weeks from now. It looks like El Nino will strengthen more, wetter than normal. If the trend continues, don't expect a wetter than normal winter and severe weather outbreaks. Climate Prediction Center predicted above normal rainfall for the Caribbean for mid-December at 80% yesterday. Well, don't forget, CPC is only kind of broad brushing their predictions, because they also said we were expecting multiple tropical systems out there for October and November. We didn't see anything. So we got to take that with a grain of salt, being as far out as we are. All right, I'm gonna wave the white flag and say moderate El Nino. That's why I've just been saying El Nino. We're in an El Nino at this point in time. We're in an El Nino. There's no arguing that. You guys can classify it to the scale of low, moderate, extra moderate, spicy moderate, elevated to extreme, supreme moderate, then strong. But we're in an El Nino, and the pattern's there. El Niños bring less severe weather than La Nina. That's actually the opposite of what I've been hearing a lot of other weather sources mentioning, but I guess so. Florida really doesn't have much to worry about over the next several days. It doesn't seem like we're going to have a whole lot of action down here. The Caribbean's not going to have a whole lot of action either for Ana if you're still watching in Puerto Rico. It looks like you could have some stray shower activity associated with a very, very tail end appendage of a front. But nothing too crazy. There's really not a lot going on in the weather sphere. Not a whole tremendous amount going on, which is kind of a bummer, but it's kind of nice to be taking a break because, there was a lot of activity during the tropics to, quote, hype up, and we're not seeing it anymore, so that's kind of a good thing. But, yeah. Doesn't really seem like the pattern's going to be changing very much either. Everyone keeps making these videos about how we're looking at a very big pattern change, but the pattern really does not look like it's going to be changing. Really not going to be changing very much. Which, again, is not necessarily a bad thing, not necessarily a good thing. Kind of an indifferent sort of scenario. Our polar front jet looks to try to get just a little more aggressive as we get into the middle parts of December, so that could kind of change things up a little bit. Derail our El Nino subtropical jet just a little. It looks like at the very tail end of the 12Z GFS, it tries to switch over and start pushing a little bit more towards Florida, the Bahamas, and the Greater Antilles. So that might change things for us in terms of rain chances if this holds true and doesn't completely deviate like we've seen with pretty much every other model run up into this point. It's been calling for very vigorous systems in the south, very strong nor'easters in the northeast, and then within a couple model runs it dissipates. So there's been a lot of changing with our model. I think El Nino brings more severe weather but milder winter temperatures. That's generally what's expected, yeah. I classified an El Nino right now. Remember the El Nino for 09-10 winter season. That El Nino bring heavy rainfall in the Caribbean for 2009 December. Light rain or no rain Monday. Until then, warm weather returns, and in cooler weather, maybe it'll be colder and drier than normal winter. That would mean a concerning fire season in April. Dark Earth, welcome in. Good to see you. Well, we'll go ahead and it's already 8:30, so we'll start making some announcements here. First and foremost, we may do an update or a live stream tomorrow. That's to be determined. I have a lot to work on with my green screen setup that's going to be going up in the background of the office here. And that's going to be the changing format of the videos going forward. So it might be a slow and steady progress before I can start to pump out more of the content on a regular period. I got used to editing these talking head videos, and now I have to get entirely used to, once again, editing and trying to swing through videos, doing it in a standing kind of presentation in front of the green screen. So it's going to be more of like an official news broadcast, so to speak, which I'm really excited about. Perhaps it'll help to revamp the channel a little bit, give it a bit more of a professional environment when we're doing the actual segments. And then live streams, if we're covering a severe weather event or a tropical system in the future, it'll probably be in front of the green screen. If it's a more casual presentation like it is tonight, it'll definitely be in a more talking head sort of forum, more casual, laid back. I'll be sitting down and I can talk and converse with you guys. And we'll see from there. Second big announcement, and this is the big one. This is the really big one. El Nino confirmed in Minneapolis. We are 3 below normal for the year. In addition, December is our snowiest month. Yeah, we're definitely in an El Nino. That's why I don't want to classify it as weak, strong, moderate, saucy, whatever. But yeah. So a big announcement that's going to definitely affect what happens here on the channel and also moving forward is I am more than likely, and at this point almost guaranteed, as long as medical clearance goes okay, rejoining the military. And I'm getting back in my weather career field. So I'm very excited for that. Very excited for that. It'll be a reserve component, but I'm slated to head out for medical processing next week, so you likely will not hear from me for a couple days. Probably be back in time for a Friday night live stream, but that's what I've been actively working on, and that's why it's kind of been a very busy day for me, because I've been having to battle exams. I had to take 2 dang exams today, and I had 4 chapters of homework to do that I still need to submit after I get off of this live stream, squeeze in a dinner in there or two. And, I've been finally messaging back and forth with my recruiter. So looking at landing the weather gig once again, only on the naval side of things, an aerographer is what it's called. So it won't be in the Air Force as an actual weather analyst, but it'll be a aerographer position with the Navy here in Florida. So we're not going anywhere. There just may be some intermittent latency in some of the videos that I do. But Lord willing, what the true long-term plan is now, re-enlist, do it all over again, get started with the military one more time, and see if I can make a run for retirement. But my recruiter is emphasizing that with this, I really need to push for finishing my degree so I can commission and go officer sooner than later. So that's going to be the big thing. And I am definitely on board with that plan, which means even more work. But you know what? It's going to be worth it in the long run. This is the point in life where I feel like everybody has to really pick up their pants and go full adult mode and just grind until they're exhausted beyond belief, and then it'll pay off in the long term. Just like what Muhammad Ali used to say back in the day. I used to suffer in the gym so I could relax as a champion. Training was the hard part, and in this case, the work is the hard part, but we're going to get to the finish line. I mean, we've seen it up to this point, and we're just going to keep going. So I will definitely keep you posted on that. And I guess the reason I wanted to announce it on the live stream, even though, of course, we've lost a lot of our viewers, I would like to know a bit of a vote. If you guys would like a totally unrelated, I mean, I guess it's kind of related to weather since I'm going back into a weather career field. But I had the idea that I might take my camera equipment and whatnot along for the ride, and whenever we finally go through medical processing, I obviously can't film that process. It's all classified. I can't bring anything in there, but I can film the lead up to it, and perhaps I can film my swearing in again. And I thought maybe you guys would want to see that on the channel, you know, a little bit of a break in the break in the monotony of just talking weather and bring you guys along and record when I re-raise my right hand, because I know for dang certain I'm going to be emotional because I didn't think I would have another opportunity in the military and to finish up like I initially planned to when I was a 17, 18-year-old David. So I'm thinking, if anything, I will spam, use your one button if you want a bit of a vlog style video for you guys of the swear-in ceremony, because I know for certain that I can film that and the lead up to it. Hit 2 if you'd be like, nah, just stick to the weather, bruh. That's all we want from you. So if you want a little bit of a vlog kind of a ceremony, I think it was Dark Earth, as a matter of fact, who suggested many, many live streams ago that I should document my graduation for when I get my atmospheric science degree and become a meteorologist. So I figured kind of the same purpose. In this case, I'm signing back on to a weather career field in the military, so I figured I'd take you guys along for the ride on that as well and present it to you as a bit of a vlog-style video so you can see the process and the build-up and then me crying and being all, because, back in the uniform again. God willing, you will make it and will keep you in my prayers. Thank you very much, Anna. I appreciate that. Officer Nazario, love the sound of that. Thank you for your service. Oh, thank you, Mick and Marley. I appreciate that. Nomad Cat 4, congratulations. Thank you very much. Mick and Marley definitely want to see that. Yes, would be awesome. 1, I was just checking. It was an El Nino, Kevin, during 2018. 1, I would watch that. Thank you for your service. 1. All right, then there it is. All right, guys, I will go ahead and start mapping that out, just like I've been mapping out a lot of other video content I want to bring for you guys. It might not be a speedy process. Hopefully it is, but I'll admit it's been a long time since I've had to prepare for a PT test, and my test anxiety loves to go through the roof, so I got to hammer out. I'll be listening to the Rocky Balboa theme song because it's basically like the Rocky Balboa film where he had retired and came out of retirement to do it again, the boxing. In this case, I'm getting out of retirement, if you will, to rejoin the military, so that's what I'll be listening to as I'm preparing for my fitness test. So I can maybe bring you guys along for that too, or at least try to find a way to set up a camera and record a little bit of that. But most of all, I really just wanted to kind of film and bring you guys with for the ceremony. Even if we go live, I don't know how we'd facilitate that. I haven't really experimented with going live on my phone, but maybe we can do a live video too for that. We'll see. We'll figure it out. When we have time, I'm just letting you know now that the process is in the works. I've already asked for time off from my job so I can go and take care of all this business. So yeah, well, I'll keep you guys updated for sure. We all agree with you, Naz. I'm glad, very glad. Question related to military. Can anyone apply for a military job? Non-combat role? Oh, yeah. I mean, you have to take a couple of examinations beforehand to see which jobs you qualify for. But if you score high enough on the ASVAB, then, yeah, you can pretty much take whatever job you want. I scored high enough to where they said you could have any job you want as long as it's available and we have the flexibility to allow for more personnel. It's not a saturated career field. And I already knew, my recruiter knew weather. Weather was like, I didn't even know. Honestly, I looked at him when I first enlisted in the Air Force, and I was like, what do you want me to put for the other 9 jobs? I have no idea what I'd want to do. I just want to do weather. And luckily, I landed the weather gig because I had a few others on there who I didn't know any better at the time were actually kind of garbage career field. No, let me rephrase that. They were just, a little harder to deal with career fields. So, love a man in uniform. Oh, yeah. You're definitely going to see videos of that. You would be the only YouTube meteorologist who is in the service. That is true. That is very true. There's a lot of veterans out there who have done it before, but I will be back in the service again. So that adds another layer of pizzazz to the channel, and I'll have to exhibit that one way or another. Means so much you were thinking of sharing such a huge event with us. Oh, yeah, of course. It goes without saying. I kind of wish we had all of our other returning viewers here with us so they could kind of admire them. Well, not admire the moment, excuse me. Let me not put that. That sounds very arrogant of me. Not admire the moment, but just take part in it. And as our community, I feel it's only right that you guys take part in it, because at the end of the day, the military is what started me with my experience in weather. I don't count any of my amateur studying as a little kid as weather experience. So it was the military that brought me to you guys in the first place. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the education and knowledge that I do now. So I feel it's only fitting that with this education and the knowledge that was given through the military, as I prepare to re-enter it, I should bring you guys in for the experience alongside me, because it's all kind of attributed to that at the end of the day. And that's not only that, but I just feel like it's very heartwarming to have you guys who are in my corner as I make these videos and this coverage to tag along and kind of witness it alongside me. Because, I mean, you guys are what make the channel. You guys are what make the community. So I tried joining the military, but I was rejected due to epilepsy. That makes sense. Yeah, they will disqualify you based on certain medical qualifications, and some are waiverable, others are not, or I should say waivable. Thankfully, Lord willing, knock on wood, when I go in for my medical clearance, they don't suddenly identify some kind of weird ailment that I have. I mean, I feel good. I don't look that bad for my age, so we'll see. This is amazing. You're awesome. God is definitely good. Amen. I say to that 157,000%. I have family in the Marines, EGA. Thank them for their service. I really appreciate what they're doing, especially the Marines. I also have a family member in the Marine Corps right now, as a matter of fact, and my grandfather served in the Marines. We talked about that for our Veterans Day. This is amazing. I'm so proud of you. Thank you, Miss Leah. I really appreciate that so much. You know what? Since we kind of got off topic, we're going to save our little bit of a digestion of the hurricane season and the speculation of next hurricane season for Friday night. And it kind of makes a little more sense. Oh, shoot. Might not be able to do a live Friday night. So, we probably will end up going live tomorrow. Friday night, I have to start making the commute up to Daytona for the car event, because I'm going to be staying at one of my family members' houses up there, as a matter of fact, because they live about 20 minutes from where the show venue is, and we need to be there by 9:30 for rolling, and there's no way in heck I'm driving out from like 3 a.m. here in Polk County all the way up there. So we're going to be staying up there on Friday night. I might be able to go live. We'll see. They have Wi-Fi, so we'll see what happens. To be determined. I'll have my stuff with me, if anything. If not, we'll just go live tomorrow and cover a little bit more of the severe weather event. I can't wait to ride the Naz wave and have a day in the life of your life. I'm excited to bring that for you guys. I'm definitely excited to show you guys a little bit of what the military life looks like. Follow your heart. God always will guide you through success. He always knows your purpose and the positive impacts you will give to many of us watching your journey. Fish aquariums, I want to piggyback that by saying that's kind of the reason I'm very motivated to just take the plunge and do it without looking back, is I feel like there's a reason why all of a sudden this opportunity and the incentives that were presented to me for possibly putting the uniform back on popped up right now. I mean, YouTube is down. We're going through the holidays. Work has been very difficult. School has been very difficult. So perhaps this is like that little bit of a bolstering or that supplement to help kind of, dust off the shoulders and get to that next tier of, wow, this is another big chapter of my life. So, and it is, because as for some of you who may, familiar with, when you join the military, you are pretty much selling yourself off. You become military or government property. What about joining the NWS? Oh, yeah, and that's another thing that I would hope kind of coincides with this. Matt's not with us tonight, but I was going to let him know that I'm going to reach out to his liaison or his contact with NWS NHC and let him know that I am going back into the military, and maybe that'll give me even more of a leg up when I go to apply for their positions next spring or next summer, because they're very veteran-friendly, and I was told all through my time in the Air Force that military weather is always a little bit more highly acclaimed than just a degreed person or even civilian weather to an extent. So maybe if I tell them that I'm back in the weather career field in the naval capacity, that might give me just a little more oomph to land an internship, a paid internship, and then guaranteed a job as I move forward. So We all knew Naz when. Yeah, Lord willing, we can get to that point. If it's in the cards with, God's plan, I'd love to share in the success of this weather channel as we all kind of grow together with it and continue to expand it. Yeah, Jonathan, I feel you on that one. And it's sad to see patriotism is kind of diminishing around the United States. It's very sad. I'm all for all this blending of cultures and everything, but I feel like at the same time, because we're politicizing the blending of cultures and whatnot, we're really losing the idea of patriotism. People are kind of losing the idea that, even if you come from all sorts of different places with different upbringings and different backgrounds and walks of life, we congregate in the United States, and that's why we're America at the end of the day, and you can't change that. The sad thing is people are losing sight of that because they immediately want to twist it into some politically charged crap, but we're, and it's like, that's not the point. That's not the point I'm trying to make. You can come in any kind of, not even going to get all that descriptive, but you know where I'm going with this, guys. But at the end of the day, when you're here in the United States, number one, we are united. It's not just a cunning way to describe it. And this is America. Take that and do with it as you wish. All I'm saying is, patriotism used to be very much so alive earlier decades from now, and now all of a sudden it's becoming very washed out, very blurred, and it's such a shame because that's kind of what this whole country was founded off of. That's what kind of started the migration of all these different peoples to the Americas because of the diversity that we offer, and now it's becoming so heavily just washed up that we don't know butt from elbow, unfortunately. God has other plans for you to serve, Jonathan. Amen. Yes, Kevin, I highly agree with that. An excellent point. An excellent point. Maybe because you can't serve in the military doesn't mean that there's not going to be another door that comes open suddenly for you to serve in another capacity. And that is an amazing way to look at it. I applaud you for saying that. That is awesome. But yeah, guys, so we have that in the works. That's another little piece of content that I'm going to bring to you all. I wish we could have done a little bit more coverage with the United States, but I unfortunately still have things to do tonight. So we're going to end up cutting the live stream here in a moment. Still watching for that severe weather event in the south, and then watching to see what exactly brews up for our El Nino-style winter. And then either tomorrow or Friday, if I do have the capacity to do a live stream, we'll do a full breakdown of the hurricane season, do a wrap-up and a recap of 2023's hurricane season. All right, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and close out the live stream. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, please leave them in the comments below of this live stream, or just simply drop me a line on my weather Instagram or my TikTok, as I'm starting to get a little more active on there, or at least trying to figure that out. Yeah, we really don't have a whole lot to discuss outside of what's expected to take shape in the south, especially eastern Texas. So we're definitely looking at the possibility of some good convective winds, isolated tornadic activity, and then obviously very, very heavy bouts of rainfall. So tomorrow, if anything, we'll come back and we'll give you a bit more of an update. But definitely looking at some severe weather action for sure down there. You saw it in the HRRR. You saw it in our predictions. SPC's on top of it. We're going to have a lot of storm chasers and other coverage going on down there too. So we're definitely going to have folks in a general area covered down big time. And yeah, guys. So we will see you. I'm thinking tomorrow. Tomorrow will probably be a better bet to do a live stream. And it is the last day of the hurricane season, so we can do our recap tomorrow. That makes more sense. But I will keep you all updated on my whereabouts and exactly how we're going to roll with that. And I do apologize if I seem a little more lackluster tonight. Just very tired, so tired, honestly. There was so much going on today and still so much that has to be done. But I wasn't going to bail out on the live stream this evening. Yes, I am on TikTok. I never thought I'd be there, and I was so against it for a long time. But I figured, you know what? Let's go ahead and just continue to branch out. Just like I need to make an X/a Twitter here very soon. But thank you all so much for your continued support. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight, taking some time out of your Wednesday evening to join me for our little post-tropics topic live stream to talk about the severe weather event in the south, and then further explore exactly what's coming for the United States, the Caribbean, and the Gulf of Mexico as we go over the next few weeks. Jonathan, I won't forget that around the 18th, you want some information in terms of what's going on with the weather. We'll keep an eye out for that as the models continue to populate. And we'll more than likely meet back tomorrow evening for a very brief live stream. If not, I'll try to get something going earlier on Friday so that way I can get you guys taken care of and we can do our little recap of Hurricane 2023. But until then, guys, we will talk to you very soon. Thank you once again for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. This is Weather Center Nazario, signing